my videos, I often talk about various guitar technique and practicing rules, and I often make it sound that if you don't do the things I'm saying, you'll never play guitar fast and clean. But how much do these details actually matter? Let's take a look. Never move the pick with the thumb and index finger if you want to play guitar fast and clean. Don't use the forearm when you're changing between strings that are right next to each other. Have a more wrist-dominant, John Petrucci-like picking style. Be careful of tension in your jaw when you're practicing, because if you got tension in your jaw, you'll never play fast. Do not rest your pinky finger on the body of the guitar. That's going to create all kinds of tension in your arm. That's going to make it impossible for you to pick fast and clean and keep your hands in sync. Do not wrap your fretting hand thumb around the neck of the guitar if you want to stretch. What, are you crazy? You'll never be able to stretch like this. Your fingers are going to be all constricted. You won't be able to stretch worth a damn. If your right shoulder is raised like this when you play, kiss of death for your guitar speed right there. And always do your very best to keep these fingers as close as possible to the strings, because the further they are away from the strings, the more distance you have to make up and the slower you'll play.
Never mind.
Alright, so what the heck does all of this mean? Am I saying that all of the tips that I've been giving you in all these videos on my channel about technique and practicing just don't matter, or they're unimportant, or that they're wrong?
No. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. 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 Hell no. No. No!
What it does mean, though, is it's very easy to get so deep into the weeds when analyzing other people's guitar technique and lose sight of the bigger picture. And the big picture is this. Guitar technique, which is just simply the motions your hands use to play the notes, only exists to help you achieve 5 things, which is to play the notes you want at the speed you want, in time, cleanly, and with good phrasing. If you can do these 5 things, and if you can consistently see progress in your playing year after year, then as far as I'm concerned, your technique is pretty much spot on. It is not up to anybody, much less somebody in a YouTube video, to tell you otherwise. But as a general rule, you're way less likely to end up with bad habits or plateaus in your playing when you follow certain principles or certain guitar technique fundamentals than others. Take stretching, for example. It's pretty hard to argue that if your thumb is wrapped around the neck of the guitar like this, you're gonna have an easier time stretching than somebody who has this thumb behind the neck of the guitar and his fingers naturally open up more without even trying. This doesn't mean, though, that it's physically impossible for somebody somewhere to be an exception to this general rule, because there are people with all kinds of extra long fingers and freakishly flexible joints who can do things that most people cannot. I mean, if you Google something obscure like licking your elbow, I'm sure you can find somebody somewhere in some obscure corner of the world who can do that, but good luck trying to find somebody who can do that in your local area, for example. The same applies to other guitar technique fundamentals, like, for example, resting your pinky finger or the other fingers on the body of the guitar. Very few people can do this and play without pressing extra hard into the body of the guitar. The examples I gave as counterexamples to my general rule are able to do that quite well and can play extremely well as a result. But most people cannot do that without creating extra tension. And when you watch somebody play, it's very hard to spot that tension unless you know what to look for. Same goes for letting your fingers come up more than is ideal from the strings when you play notes. Most people could not do that without tying their fingers up with extreme tension in the process. But some people can. They're the exception. And it's very dangerous to just look at someone and not understand that difference and try to copy what somebody else does, or even worse, not even think about what you're doing at all and just let whatever happens happen on blind instinct. So the question is, what should you do? How can you know if you're going to be the exception to the general rule in some areas of technique, or if you should follow the general guidelines no matter what, and follow them very strictly? What I tell all my students is, if you start by following the general, sound, proven fundamentals of guitar technique when you practice, you cannot go wrong. And you should easily be able to get your playing anywhere from 180 to 200 beats per minute on 16th notes just by following general sound principles that are rooted in fundamental biomechanics and common sense. Then from there, you can refine your technique on a case-by-case basis and see if you need to become more of an exception in some areas of guitar technique, or if you need to continue sticking to what is working for you. And this is where having individual feedback and training from somebody who knows what they're doing, looking at your technique and looking at your practice habits, telling you what you might need to adjust to get to the next level in your playing, is going to be really, really helpful to you. And yes, I give this feedback to my students inside my rapid fire guitar practice training program, but this does not have to be me doing this feedback for you at all. I don't care where you get it from. My point is, you want to get this feedback any way you can get it, and get it as often as you can, because it can often be the make or break deciding factor in your progress. And finally, when you are watching your favorite guitar players on YouTube or Instagram or wherever, look at their technique with a somewhat skeptical eye. Don't assume that just because they do a certain type of motion in their technique that this is automatically the best way, or that this is something that you should be copying in your technique as well. Sometimes you're watching the exception to the general rule, and copying it, especially without understanding the big picture of what is happening in their technique, can very often backfire.
I immediately regret this decision.
If you want some more help with building your guitar speed, and if you want to do that without doing any slow practice, I can help you with that in my free masterclass called Guitar Speed Formula. I'm going to show you a step-by-step process you can follow to build your guitar speed from wherever it is today to a much higher level without doing this whole song and dance of starting slow and gradually increasing speed in small increments, because who the hell wants to do that? If you want to know how to do that for free, hit the link below and I'm going to show it to you. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video just like this for you. This is Mike Filipov, guitar practice expert from PracticeGuitarNow.com. I'll see you next time.